Welcome to Hey Gurl. I'm your host, Bill Janice. Join me every week where I sit down with one of my amazing and talented friends who are experts in their field, and we have a little chat. All right, welcome to this episode of Hey Gurl. I'm your host, Bill Janice. Today I have a really exciting show for you. We're going to be talking all things health and fitness. I have a really exciting guest. He is currently the Senior Director of New Studio Openings for Barry's, formerly Barry's Bootcamp. This is Mathew Schwartz. Hey, girl.
Oh, hey, girl.
How are you? You said that so sultry, and just I love it. You were just like, oh, hey.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm going to write that down because I think that's the first time I've ever been called sultry in my whole life.
Sultry? I don't think I've ever been called it either. I hope one day somebody calls me that. Or I give them a reason to call me that.
Goes, and maybe I'll call you that by the end and we can see if it comes up.
Maybe you can give me that gift. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Thank you. Look, I love it. We're off to a great start. I am so grateful to be chatting with you. We've been kind of talking about doing this for a while now. So I'm glad that we were finally able to get the scheduling worked out. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for being so flexible. And I am so excited. I've been listening since you first reached out, and it's just so great to see your whole podcast world bloom. I feel like it has since I've been able to start listening.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. That means a lot. We're still. Sometimes I feel like we're still new, but we're growing. You know.
Same, and Barry's is the same. Sometimes it feels like,
I love it. So let's get started. Let's just talk a little bit about you first for the audience. So you're from Michigan, correct?
I am. I was born and raised outside of Detroit, originally Southfield, Michigan, and I lived there until it was time to get
until it was time to not live there anymore.
Exactly.
Well, I've told you offline, but I'll just tell everybody, since we're on the air, I am from the same area in Michigan.
And you also
we never
left,
knew
which
each
I
other.
think, no, we didn't know each other. It's weird. We didn't go to that convention of people that were eventually going to leave Michigan.
Right, that we're just waiting to get out. Yeah.
Is the license the right opportunity? Is the voting rights? Is the drinking age? When's the right age to depart Michigan?
Mine was 18, honey. I was
soon after, yeah. Right around 18 I moved.
And we're about the same age, so I'm sure so. Yeah.
It just felt there was something in the air where we were like
Exactly. So, okay, wait. So you, I actually feel the need to clarify. So just so the audience knows, Matt is actually coming to us from Austin, Texas today because he's working. He's opening a new studio there, which is fabulous. But you do live in New York City.
Yes, I live in New York City for 6 years now.
I love it. So what brought you to New York? Was it the job?
That's a great question. So I actually was a performer for 10 years professionally, which is such a strong word for what I feel like I did on stage, but that's what they call it professionally.
What did you do? Tell me about this.
Well, so I first left Michigan to go down to Disney. So I worked with Disney, with the Disney company, first on an internship, a management internship in catering for special events, which as a theater major at the time made a ton of sense for me, as you can probably tell. Sure. And I knew everything that I was supposed to do for sure. I never made any mistakes. So I went.
It was just a perfect fit, flawless, seamless, all day, right?
Yes, every one of those servers that had been with the Disney company for 20 years were really excited about me coming in and knowing nothing about what I was doing. It was
and managing them. No.
And being 18 and managing them. Yeah, it was great. So I did that, and then I worked for the Disney company in parades and shows as a dancer for a year, and then decided to, hit the road, as they say, and start performing, and traveled and was an actor, and I was in Actors Equity, still am, and then did not want to do that anymore. And so actually, I am very much a Virgo, and I had prepaid a sublet in New York because I was going to move there finally and be there full time and hit the ground running and do the audition thing. And I was doing a show about a month or two before that move was going to happen and everything was set up. And I was doing a show and I was on stage and I looked around and honestly, I was like, oh, I hate this. I hate this.
You had like so you're saying you kind of had like an aha moment of just like, you know what? I'm ready for something different.
Yeah, and if it had been, if
How
it
did that
had
go?
been like in my head, truly, if I'm honest, it was almost a movie moment where in my head, if I had been being filmed, I would have removed the costume and walked off stage. It was like that clarifying.
I love. Don't you love though, as creative types, we do that. Like we create that entire scenario in our head.
Yes. Yeah, truly. I was like,
Like
where's Danelle?
we've already worked out everything, like the set, the costuming, what it would look like. We've choreographed it.
Yeah, the audience
It has to.
reaction.
Yup. Yeah.
You're like,
I
this is
love
going to
it.
be great. But in the end, you just finish the contract because you're a normal person. And then I left and just, but yeah, so with that, I moved to New York because I had already paid to move to New York. And
Yeah.
I was unsure what I was going to do there. And Barry's um, was something I had known through friends that were trainers and, as an aspiring person that wants to be in shape, an aspiring fitness addict, I guess I was at that
I
point.
like the way you say that. You're like, I'm aspiring to be healthy.
Yes, I was really working
I like.
towards the health at that point. And
Right.
so I actually started with Barry's in New York after I had moved there. So I
Okay.
found the job once I got to New York, and I thought,
Yeah.
well, I had done a couple other side hustles, as we like to call it.
Sure.
I was
Sure.
cleaning an apartment on the Upper East Side. Um,
I
I
love
was
it.
assisting a photographer, and I thought, well, these aren't things I want to do long term. But, and then I found
I get
berries.
it. I love it. I had a similar like I I had a little bit of a similar story of just the amount of jobs that we have, the side hustles, as you say. When I was living in New York, I was cleaning apartments in the afternoon. I was getting up early. I was going to Steps on Broadway because I worked the desk for like exchange for discount classes, right?
Right? Yes.
And I was there from like 8 to noon, and then I would take class for myself. Then I would go clean apartments, and then I was bartending at night till like 1 or 2 in the morning every day. Like it's
Every
like three
day.
jobs a day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I get it,
And I did
girl.
the
That
same.
side hustle's real.
I kept those jobs when I first started at Barry's because I worked at the front desk. I started my Barry's journey in New York as part-time at the front desk. So
Got it.
I would
Got it.
take that 3 a.m. train from Astoria to open up the
Yes.
studio, and I would open up the studio and work from 4:30 till like 12:30, I think it was. And then I would run
Mhm.
up to the Upper East Side to clean the apartment, and I would take the train from the Upper East Side then to Brooklyn for this photographer to be his assistant, and then train back to Astoria at the end of the day. And just like,
That was your day, girl. Yeah,
that's a
that's
New
a
York
lot.
thing. It's a lot, yeah.
I love sidebar. I didn't because I didn't know this until just now. I lived in Astoria as well, and I actually really love living in Astoria. Like I lived all over in New York not because I'm rich, but because it was actually the opposite. I
That's
was
what you
literally
do,
just
yeah.
subletting place for a month here, a month there, whatever. And out of all the places I lived in New York, I actually really preferred Queens. I don't know. What do you think about it?
I agree. I loved Queens. I moved into Manhattan for berries for work because I
Because she's
was
fancy now. She's
it's it's like being fancy, but what's the opposite of fancy? I think is
No.
me is actually the
Sultry?
opposite
No,
of
I'm kidding.
fancy.
No, I'm kidding. No.
Sultry, yes. Can't you be both? Can't it be both?
You can be both.
Thank you so
Well,
much.
you just recently moved too, right? You and your fiance.
Y- Yeah, we decided that a great time to move would be like mid-pandemic in New York City. It just felt like, why not just throw another log onto the fire? We're like, okay, so we can't go anywhere and we can't leave our
Right.
apartment, so we should
So
just
let's
move
just
apartment.
change our whole apartment. Yeah. So we
Mhm.
feel like we're getting out. Yeah.
Exactly. That's basically what it was. It was just the one opportunity to have an activity this year was to move.
Right.
So we we found a great little moment of a deal in New York, which, as you know, having lived there, is so rare,
Yeah.
and kind
Yeah.
of jumped at it, took the opportunity, and so we moved in October of last year, and it is so much fancier than I ever imagined. And truly, it took like a global pandemic for me to be able to afford that in Manhattan. So take from that what
Where
you
are
will.
you at? What side of town are you on?
So I live on the west side, on the Upper West Side.
Okay.
I'm just embracing my Jewish heritage, I feel like.
Yeah.
I just, it's truly, it's so, I love it so much. It's like it's so full of families and it's just a little more
Sure.
chill. Um,
I love the Upper West Side vibe. I'm into it. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, not to sound like I'm an old man, but I love that like being in the city and working downtown, because most of the berries are downtown. Uh,
Hmm.
then leaving that, that's what I loved about Queens too, like the actual act of
Because
leaving.
it's a
But
way to, yeah, you get away from Manhattan for a minute, kind of a moment, you know?
yeah, because the energy in Manhattan, you don't realize until, I don't know, until you leave it, I guess, that your shoulders were at your ears for like a year at a time.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
You know, you're just like, oh, that's what breathing feels like. I had forgotten.
I'm only laughing so hard because it's so true. You're so right. You're
Yeah.
so right. Um, so let's talk more about berries. So tell the audience a little bit more just about the gyms and about what the kind of brand culture of berries is and what they can expect if they were to come in for a class.
Yeah. So Barry's is, well, we've been around since 1998, which a lot of people don't know. So we've been around quite a long
And
time.
you're in
Start,
14 countries too.
yeah, and I think so. I need, my math might be wrong, so I'm sorry for anyone listening that works with me if I get this incorrect. But I believe with this studio opening up in Austin, our total is 75 studios around the world now, which is
I love that.
super exciting and pretty amazing because even since I started, that is such a different number than where we were. But so we are a half cardio, half strength training workout. It is super efficient, which is something I love because I don't know about you, but when I go to the gym by myself, I will not know what to do still to this day, even though I now work out all the time for work. I'll go to the gym and I'll get like a mile on the treadmill and I'll be like, oh yeah, that's great. See y'all tomorrow if
Right,
I'm by
right, right, right,
myself.
right, right.
But so it's a
You
fully
congratulate
instructor
yourself
led,
for a great workout, and you're like, I'm
totally.
good now.
Like I think that was either sweat or I brought a little vodka with me. I'm not sure what it was, but something hit my face, so I guess I'll go now. Um, I just I truly like, I started Barry's actually, sidebar to kind of go back as a client, and I just loved it. I just loved the workout, and uh, I really appreciated the fact that they found a way to make working out fun, which it really is, because someone's telling me what to do. The music is fun, the lights are fun, you're with a community of people, but also efficient. So I know that in that 55 minutes to an hour that I'm there, I do
Right.
more for my body than I ever would do on my
Oh,
own at the gym.
on your own, yeah. Oh, totally, totally. I love that. So I feel like with the we'll call it the fitness industry and the health and wellness industry, it always feels like people are the consumer are always looking for like the next new thing, the new fad, or the new great new workout, or what's going to work the quickest, or whatever, blah blah blah. I mean, I think I'm sure you come from the same school of thought as me. Is we realize there's no shortcuts, really. It really at the end of
Truly.
the day. Because trust me, if there were, I would have found it by now. Because I've tried them all, they don't work.
I mean,
You
same.
know?
I was, all the
So
diets, all the everything. You like,
yeah,
yeah, you're like, I guess I could eat cabbage soup every day for whatever it is, some of those diets. You're like, well, yeah, of course that will make you lose weight because you're not eating and you probably hate cabbage soup as most of us do. Like, that's sorry to the
yeah,
cabbage
you'll
soup
probably
diet
throw it out.
founders.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
No, no, and I've done the whole thing. I've done the whole I did the master cleanse, like where what is that, the cayenne pepper and the maple syrup and the whole lemon juice and whatever, right? Just to get ready for like a photo shoot or something when I was performing. It's like they're not first of all, they're not efficient, and second of all, as you mentioned, they're not permanent. They're like they're exactly what they are. Like they're just maybe a quick fix for something, right? So we realize that this is a lifestyle that the individual has to commit to, in order
Right.
to be successful. Not to take away from the fact that it's challenging, but I think, in the last like 5 years or so, I've noticed personally a lot of gyms like Barry's opening up, where there's like a lot of like classroom settings, studio style. I'll even call them like boutique style gyms, that are different than maybe like a Lifetime Fitness or a Crunch, where you pay for a membership and you go in and, as you mentioned, you kind of do your own thing, or it's up to you to do your own thing. Why do you think that is, that so many places like Barry's have popped up? Do you think it actually is because most people are looking for a little bit more leadership and guidance in their workouts?
I think that there's a mix there. And of course, everyone has their own journey with fitness or with wellness or any of those things. But I think what all of us have had happen in the last few years, especially, not counting, of course, the last year, which was a full wrench in everyone's life.
Oh, yeah. We're going to talk about COVID.
We'll talk all about that, I'm sure. It's been like, its own journey. But up until then, there has been so much in our world, I think, that we have all felt so disconnected by a lot of things, right? Like everything is super fast and easy, and you don't have to actually talk to people, and you don't have to interact with someone to get your food, get your email, order clothing, order furniture, move apartments. You can do it all online. You can see a 3D tour. There's so little interaction that
people
I think
can
that there's
even buy a car now online, which is crazy.
Yes.
Like you can even buy, like there's like
on
that
an
Carvana app.
Yes.
Yeah, and they're like, we'll just drop it off. Pick your car and we'll drop it off. And I mean, again, maybe I sound like an old man, but I'm like, that just sounds like such a big purchase to do on your phone while you're on the couch. You know what I mean?
I agree. I mean, without seeing anything, without feeling anything. And so I do think that there's a mix of, there's a want to connect that I think a lot of people almost, and I don't assume to know everyone's ideals and anyone's value system or thought process, but especially living in New York City, I think that there's, that hardness that people want to put out there. But at the end of the day, we all crave community in some way. We
Absolutely,
all crave support, right? And so like if you find something that not only benefits you physically, but also really does have an effect on your mental well-being, why wouldn't you jump into that? And I do think that is also a big part of why this style of fitness is so popular.
No, and I mean, I'll definitely agree with what you're saying about the sense of community. Barry, unfortunately, you don't have a Barry's here in Las Vegas. I've already given you crap about that, about wanting to get to the Barry's.
Joey, if you're listening, there's a need for a Barry's in Vegas.
There is a need, but just I used to be a member when I lived in New York, and I've spent a lot of time in Los Angeles as well doing work, and so when I'm there, I can do a drop-in class and whatnot. So, but to your point, yes, absolutely, I definitely always felt that when I would go to Barry's, is that really great sense of community. Even and even if it's even if you are the newcomer, I've never there's been times where I've gone to different gyms and different venues where you don't really feel that welcome, especially if you're the new person, and even if you're not trying to like be social, you still don't want to feel like you're out of place, And I never felt that at Barry's. Everybody from the person at the front desk to the instructor to the other athletes were always very, very kind. I always had a great experience, so I love that.
I love hearing that. It's something that we are so aware of and we care so much about. And that speaks to, a lot of hard work that people are doing to make sure that feeling stays, because as any company grows, of course, that can be something that can slip away. And I think that we have tried to do the reverse and really emphasize that as we grow.
Sure. So what do you think, in your opinion, what do you think sets Barry's apart from some of the other gyms that have opened up that are like classroom setting gyms, like places like SoulCycle or Flywheel or Peloton? What would you say to somebody to come to Barry's instead of one of those places?
Well, that's a big question. Wow. Well, I think personally.
So while you think about that, I'm going to take a drink. No.
Oh, yeah. And while I think about that, I'm also going to take a drink.
Yeah, take a drink. Take a drink, girl. Go ahead. Yeah, we have cocktails here. Cheers. Yes.
Clink. I think mine might be plastic, so I don't know if it would actually clink. So
I know I've got my copper goblet here. Thank you, Absolute Elix. They sponsored the first season of the show. So
wow, thank you, Absolute. I have a plastic cup, so thank you, Dixie Brands. I think is.
I love it.
So I think that it's perfect.
But you're drinking Casamigos, which is a great tequila.
It is truly great. It's a great tequila, and this mezcal is really nice. So thank you, Casamigos. I am not
Yeah.
sponsored by you, but if you'd like to, I can.
But if you'd like to sponsor Mathew Schwartz,
Yes, take a look.
just
Um,
just in
my
life.
four followers on Instagram would love that. So
Oh, stop.
I I think that truly though, what sets us apart, it's so hard because yes, there is so much competition in any industry, but we're doing our own things, right? Like people will find what they like. And I think that's important. And I think that's one thing that Barry's really does really well is kind of focus on what we do and not what other companies are doing. Because, I try to embrace that in my life, and I'm sure you understand that in as a performer and as an entrepreneur, as you are doing now, what other people are doing doesn't actually service you, right? So like
No, you're
focusing
right.
on
Yeah.
what you are going towards is really what the goal is. And so for us, we try to lead by the fact that like our mission statement everywhere, it's all over our well, it's not our mission statement is about transforming lives, but
Yeah.
we kind of guide by this phrase of work out hard and be nice to people. And I think that combination is something that really does set us apart because you are going to get your butt kicked with us, but we are there to support you through the whole process. And I think that sets it apart. And I have worked out at other gyms and other fitness style places, and there's no names needed, that have maybe done one or the other. But there's definitely, as you said, I've been to other places where that first time you go in, you feel like everyone is judging you from A to Z.
Right.
And that is something that I don't think, welcomes anyone. So I do think that our community feel tied with this workout that's going to actually give you results truly does, it sets us apart. And it's something that I think we all love about working here too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, no, and that's the thing too. Like if you're the new person or you're going in as you mentioned and I mentioned earlier, I feel like for me, like I'm already judging myself enough. I don't want to feel like everyone else is judging.
Absolutely.
I'm already so hard on myself. And I've
Oh, for
struggled.
sure.
I've personally struggled in my life and in my journey with my own personal fitness and physique. Even as a dancer, like I always felt like I had, and I swear I'm not victimizing, but I really do feel like it was harder for me. No, I always felt like I had to do more just to maintain, like maybe, and I know we're not supposed to compare ourselves to other people, and you actually mentioned that as well, which I love that you say that you don't compare yourselves to the other gyms. It doesn't.
But it's
you're just focused on
hard.
what you're doing. Yeah, but I used to remember always feeling like like the other dancers in the dressing room that I would be with in a show, and I'd be like watching them eat junk food, but they looked amazed. They still like had a six pack, and I'm like, how do you do that? I can't
Right.
do that. I have to like weigh my food, and I have to get cardio in every morning.
I'm with you. I'm the same, actually. I have the same experience, and I felt that
Yeah.
when I was a performer as well, and I still feel that now. I think that's part of why I love the community of people not judging me, because as you said, I do it enough for myself.
Yeah.
I will
Right,
judge
right.
myself. The things I say to myself when I'm running on that treadmill are not kind, and I know
I know,
that.
and that's so counterproductive. As spiritual people, we know that we're supposed to be nice to ourselves when we talk to
Yes,
ourselves, but
of
but
course.
still, I've got that old school like performer mentality.
Yeah, where you're running and
Of
you're like
just
smiling on the outside, but you're like, okay, fatty, this is what you wanted to eat last night, so you're going to run harder today. And then I know that I'm not supposed to do that, but it's like, I mean, we're allowed to be honest with each other, right? I mean, that's
Yeah,
where you
absolutely.
go. That's a
Hmm.
really easy place to go to, and I'm the same. I feel like I can watch people eat junk food and I will gain weight from them eating it.
Yeah,
That's how I've
right.
always felt.
I do too.
So
I
I
love
am
it.
with you.
I love it. So, so tell me about about your role specifically, being the director of new studio openings, which has got to be really exciting. So you get to travel, you get to open up the new studios, you get to be there at the beginning on the ground floor. All, I'm sure, a great deal of work, but it's got to be there's a certain level of excitement to that role.
Of course. First of all, I'm sure you feel this. It almost feels like opening night all the time for those of us that came from
Yes.
performing, because And it does. There are things that go wrong leading all the way up to opening. Of course, it all happens in every industry and every business. And you're just like, how is this going to happen? Sometimes you're at that, that dress rehearsal and you're just like, is this going to happen? But you just know that like it has to, especially coming from our backgrounds, right? Like you would not let a show open without it being ready to open. And you will do
totally.
everything in your power to make sure that it is.
Up to the last second before the doors open or the curtain goes up. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And we have had so much more ability to set how we do these now that we have, more process and all that. But it's so exciting. I mean, of course, I know we'll talk more about it as we continue this conversation, but we've had a full pause over the last year of anything of new studio openings. We've been so lucky and we've been able to open a lot of new things at Barry's, which is so cool. And that's part of like, what I love about this company is like we are still so nimble to be able to, we launched an at-home platform. We've launched these outdoor studios that use silent disco technology, which is so fun. So you walk by the Barry's and you like don't hear a thing, but you see people working out so hard, and it's just a blast.
I love it because they have headphones on, right?
They have headphones, and the instructor is talking directly into the headphones, and the instructor's playlist is going right into the headphones. So we could pop up next to a church, I guess, and no one would even hear it.
Right.
Is that?
Right,
I don't know why I went to. I don't know why
I feel like
went
we
to
should.
church, but why not? Let's give it a try. But so we're opening, these studios in really different cities around the country. I've been so lucky to get to travel starting kind of in before my role even existed. I kind of helped with these all around New York, in New York State, and I've helped open studios in Chicago, in Charlotte, and Atlanta. We are now open all around the country, and it's so fun because one thing I really love is we really love to embrace the area we're in. So yes, the feel is going to be the same and the class is the same, and we make sure that that is standardized so that no matter where you take a Barry's, you will have that experience.
The same experience,
but we want the vibe to fit the community that we're in.
Unique.
Yeah, yes,
absolutely,
and it's so much more fun that way. It's so great to get to meet people and understand why they are excited about it, because that totally has so much impact on how we connect with them. We want them to be excited for the reasons they are excited, not for the reasons we're telling them to be excited. And I think that's one of my favorite things about this role.
I love that. Well, no, totally. And I think it's the same thing, not to keep bringing it back to performing, but I think it's valid. It's that reciprocal energy, like what you used to have from being on stage with the audience, that give and take energy. It's got to be the similar between your guests and your athletes and you. Like you said, like you're excited because of what they're excited about, and you feed off that,
Yeah, oh, for sure. And it's not a forced energy. It's truly, it's this really, not to use a buzzy word or get like a sound bowl out for you, but this really holistic energy that, me too. It's so satisfying, and it truly is what drives all of us that are on this side of the team forward, because there are those stressful moments and those little hiccups, and you work through them because you know how excited people are to have you there.
So what is it exactly that you guys look for when you're deciding where to open a new gym? Like, what is it about that particular community or that city or that demographic that checks all the boxes for you that you say, we're going to open a studio there?
We have a ton of research that gets done, of course, before we open.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not just 3 reasons or anything, but yeah.
Right. Well, what we do is we have this wheel and we spin it. But I'm curious
if we could paraphrase. Yeah.
Yeah. So we just try to look for a community that's going to want our brand, right? We know what we offer, and we're really solid in that offering, but not everywhere wants that. No matter what you do, no matter what your brand is, no matter what industry you're in, right? There are some communities that would be like, we don't want this big name gym, whatever it is. I don't know why I did all this arm motion.
I'm loving the choreography. It's great.
I'm gesticulating as if I'm like making sure the people across the river can see what I'm talking about.
I love it. Perfect.
So we really want to make sure that it's a community of people that are super, wanting fit, super athletic in their mindset. So we definitely look for active communities. There isn't an age range for people that can take the class, but there is an age range, I think, for people that find it, if that makes sense.
It
So,
does.
yeah, I definitely have a really personal experiences with everyone of different ages experiencing berries. My family has come to take classes when they visited, and so those stories really inspire and really have affected my view on what we actually can do here, and how accessible our workout is. But there's definitely still a group of people that will gravitate towards our style of workout. So
Sure.
we look for people that are active, and there's this the demographic that we try to fit as far as age. But then also we just want to find cities that are interested in having this brand.
Yeah.
That's the thing, and I know I mentioned it before, but we don't want to like shoehorn ourselves into a community that isn't interested in it, because what's the point, and how is that servicing anyone? We want to make sure that it's something that it is this like love fest of our brand and your community and what we're doing here, and we can continue to elevate the experience with each other rather than telling you this is how you work out at our space.
Yeah, well, and I mean, we kind of touched on it earlier. You got the individual has to find what works for them, and I think that that's so important to understand, because what works for me isn't going to work for you, and I think when you find it, it's a really great relationship that starts to build. You know what I mean? Which is
Yeah.
why I need you guys to come to Vegas so I can start
Okay.
taking.
I am noting it. I'm going to tell Alexa. I don't have an Alexa, but if I did, I would tell her to take a note.
Because I miss it. I miss coming to Barry.
Well, you can do berries at home, and I will make sure that you have some classes to try it out.
Oh, thank you. Well, so like, great. Since you bring it up, let's talk about COVID. Let's talk about 2020. So obviously, all of our worlds got turned upside down. So with that, you guys launched some really great programming, like as you mentioned, Barry's at home, so people can do it in the safety of their home, and they can live stream. What other types of, now that I think we're starting to, gratefully so, I think we're getting closer to things opening up, and certain restrictions in different cities are being lifted, and we're moving in the right direction. But what is Barry's as a company doing new, and implementing new safety protocol for people when they come in? What can we expect to see when we come in now, just to make people feel safe and that it's okay?
Yeah. So berries has, of clearly, depending on where we've been across the country, every area has reopened, and all of that differently as we've unfolded and started towards that light at the end of the tunnel for COVID. So we've really, we lean on state mandates and city mandates to make sure that we're following any protocols they have. But the berry standard of cleaning, always was in place. We
It was
really
always
took
in
it
place. Yeah,
seriously.
exactly.
Yeah, we really made sure that all of our equipment and everything was very clean, but we have now enhanced it even further that, not to get too technical, because I also don't know what certain things mean because I am not a chemist or a scientist, but we have now found ways to enhance our air filtration, that we have basically UV lights that live in the air filters now that we put in our
Oh,
ducts,
wow.
our air ducts, that kill bacteria in the air before it ever has a chance to circulate. We
Ooh,
have
she's fancy over there now.
it's
We got
we've
fresh
really
air coming
we
in. I
have
love it.
yes, yeah, we have upgraded to hospital grade cleaning supplies and cleaning tactics. We have different equipment that we use now to make sure that we're able to maintain as safe as humanly possible our environment. We also have far more space in our rooms. So currently we are operating most studios at 25, some studios a little higher, closer to 50% capacity.
I see.
So, here in Austin, all of our benches where people do all of their strength training have 6 feet of space between each other, which you have taken
Perfect.
berries in the olden days. That is not, what we used to
Oh yeah, there
do.
there definitely wasn't 6 feet between me and homegirl next to me. We became friends
Exactly. It
very
was a little
quickly.
different. Exactly.
Right,
So we have
right,
tons
right,
of
right.
space. We do temp checks at every single touch point. that are these really cool touchless temperature readers that you just step up to and it reads your face. You don't have to touch anything. We have all of our employees are wearing masks, our instructors are wearing masks to make sure that everyone feels safe. Clients, of course, it's different area to area, but we make sure that everyone coming in feels as safe as humanly possible.
What can you tell me about with all of this? You mentioned that some studios are operating at 25% capacity, some a little bit more at 50. And obviously, I'm not expecting you to give me any sort of exact figures, but I'm curious though, like with this pandemic that has forced businesses to only operate at small capacity and small percentage, like how has business in general been? I mean, how have you obviously guys are still doing okay, but like what have you guys done in the last year to maybe supplement that revenue you might have lost?
Well, so, the one thing that, as I mentioned, that it's so inspiring to work for a company that stays very nimble. Yes, we are not a small mom and pop shop in some ways, but we still operate in a way that really is trying to look at our options and not just think, well, this is how we do it, this is what we do, and we can't move from that. We're not stagnant in that way. So the Berries at Home product is something that came out of COVID. We launched that in a matter of weeks from when we had the shutdown happen last year, starting with some Instagram live classes that we had done and seeing the excitement of our community there. We built a full platform. We offer classes now on that platform. Basically, if you're in Eastern time, which is something that now time zones have never been more aware of time zones until this Berries at Home platform.
Well, now you
about.
have to be. Yeah,
exactly yes, because
exactly.
we talk with people and clients and each other too, instructors and operators from all across the country and all around the world. But we have classes basically from 6 a.m. Eastern to about 9:30, 10 p.m. Eastern, depending on the day. And there are classes almost every 15 minutes, most hours of the day. So we have really jumped into that to make sure that we're able to continue
make
to
sure
operate.
You're accessible. Yeah.
And
exactly.
make sure we're accessible no matter where in the country you are. We have classes that have body weight only, that have bands only. We have classes that you can run in if you want to run outside, if you happen to have a treadmill at home. We have a variety of offerings to make sure we're able to be there however you need us to be there right now. So we were able to launch that, and then we also were able to launch this outdoor product, which is so cool. Clearly some parts of the country are more easy to operate an outdoor than others.
Right, yeah. I can't imagine you're doing outdoor classes in New York City right now. If you are, good for you, but I can't imagine that you are.
We have been, yes, we have been. We are adjusting as we go now back into a little more of our studio spaces.
But as opposed to like a city like Los Angeles where you
right.
could, it's
yes,
very easy. It's easy to make that transition.
Exactly.
Outside.
Like I can't imagine like my family in Detroit being like, yeah, let's just get the parka on and lift some weights. Right. So it's a little different depending on where you are. But we do have in Los Angeles, we've even
that's
been
some
able
hardcore dedication. Like let's go work out berries in the snow. Like that's some dedication.
There are people, I kid you not, because I do take part for at home. I moderate some of our classes, which is something that we have really special to Berries, where we are there having an operator to make sure that the client is being taken care of and the instructor is being taken care of. And we have classes that are run classes, so they're a fully instructor-led run class, and there's one client in specific that takes them all the time, and she is in Buffalo, New York, and she calls in, and she doesn't have a treadmill, so she's outside running in Buffalo, New York.
I love it.
The last few months, and she'll turn her camera on sometimes and it's like a blizzard behind her, and she's bundled, she is running, she's like, I'm so sorry, my speeds were a little slower, and I'm like, well, you had to snowshoe. Yeah, oh my God, it's amazing.
That's inspiring.
Yeah, and so I do think that also though is so much a part of why we're continuing to innovate is knowing that we have this impact on people, and we're working to make sure that we can continue to.
Do you think now? I've talked about this with a couple other people recently. A lot of people, you hear people talk about, when are things going to get back to quote unquote normal and that type of thing. I personally think after a year of this, I don't think what we remember as normal will ever be again. I think we're going towards what would be a potential new normal. And I'm wondering what your take on is, like with everything that you just mentioned and all these great initiatives that you guys have implemented, with berries at home or the outdoor gyms and classes and whatnot. Do you think, even when we get past this pandemic, do you think that the classroom experience has changed forever? Do you think that people are going to still prefer to do it from home, or what's your take on this?
I think that there's definitely going to be a hybrid for a lot of people. I think that,
Mm-hmm.
because I think as all of us have probably felt during this, you have these like ebbs and flows of feeling okay and then not, right? Like there are those moments where it feels like,
Right.
oh, I'm good.
Right.
I could go to this dinner if it's outside and it's, and we're, separated enough and we feel good. And then sometimes you'll show up to that dinner and you're like, it was so great thinking about coming here. I'll see you all in a year. I think that we've all kind of ridden that
Yeah.
emotional side of it. So I definitely
I
see.
feel like I've gotten a little socially awkward this year too, in a way, like unintentionally. Like,
Absolutely. Like this now, this like online communication feels great. And you see a
right.
person in person and you both are deer in headlights
You
and
act
you're just
weird.
like,
You're like,
do I,
hi, how are you? Yeah.
right, do I look at you? Do I talk to you? But then on the other side, I went for a run the other day and I ran past, and I wish I was lying to you right now, but I ran past a duck and I said hello, like I did the nod because I'm from the Midwest. You know the Midwestern nod, hello.
I know the
And
Midwestern nod. Yeah, yeah.
yep, and I did that to an actual
To a
duck
duck.
on a sidewalk. Yep, I said hello.
That's
So
but that's just what a great person you are. you acknowledge all living things, and I love
I
it.
just wanted to make sure the duck knew that I was aware of it being there when I was running. I'm not going to kick you,
as
duck.
as you
I'm just,
should. Yeah.
I hope you enjoy your morning waddle,
Hopefully
as I
he's
am enjoying
listening.
mine.
Hopefully he's listening.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. What do you do? Do you mind if I ask, actually, you personally? What do you do in your personal daily routine to stay, I mean, obviously, I know you do various workouts, but also, like, do you meditate? Do you do any sort of other rituals that keep you feeling kind of balanced and centered as a person?
So meditation and I are not great friends.
Compatible? No.
We try. Well, I do try, and I think that it's an amazing tool. And every once in a while, do you meditate at all?
I do, but I've definitely gone through. Um, I was forgive me. I hope I'm not jumping the gun here, but because I haven't heard your answer yet. But I've gone through multiple techniques, I'll call them, to try, again, same thing with fitness, just to try to find what works for me and what kind of vibrates with me where I'm
Hmm.
at. And with meditation, I'm such a high strung person. In the beginning, like, it felt almost impossible. Like, because I thought in order to meditate, you had to be like sitting on the floor with your legs crossed and your palms up, and you're doing the whole, like, the positioning and the chakras and everything. Which, yes, that is a valid technique, but it's not the only technique. So for me, I do meditate, but I definitely kind of rotate between a couple different practices. And sometimes it really is just me laying in bed in a comfortable position, sometimes I do a guided meditation with an audio, and sometimes it's just silence, and you just focus on your breathing. So I've done a couple different things. I used to do, even at one point, there was a period of time where I was doing chakra meditation, where I was also chanting and whatnot, which was actually really powerful, but it's a very strict discipline, and I kind of fell off the habit of doing that. Anyway, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent there, but yes, those are the ways that I've found meditation to work best, is when it's kind of like low stress. So I just lay down in my bed and just put on an audio.
I find if I try to meditate fully silently and just sit there in stillness, when the file folders of your past 35 years just shoot open. And truly, like, it starts with like,
With no
when have
mercy
you
either. No
no, oh
mercy.
my God.
Yeah,
It
no
always
mercy.
starts with like, what was your biggest failure? That's like first thing that hits you in the face. It's like, remember when you did this wrong? That's where I
Yeah.
go if I try to
Why we're
just like
so good at reminding ourselves when we fail. You know what I
yes,
mean?
of course. And so I find for this past year, especially for centering, um walking has been a really powerful way to find like
Yeah.
peace and kind of centering. That is one amazing thing about living in New York, even through all this, having that ability to walk Central Park or walk along the West
Sure.
Side or East Side highways and be around a little bit of water. Um, that's helped a lot. And then I've been cooking a ton. And
Okay.
I find that so peaceful, and it's
Yeah.
that is almost meditative in its property for me.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
love being in the kitchen. I love, in times when you can have dinner parties, I love cooking for people and having that sense. So, I mean, cut to Thanksgiving this year when my fiance and I had a probably 10-person Thanksgiving dinner because I don't know how to cook it otherwise. So
Oh,
I,
you don't know how to like downsize the proportions. You're like, I'm cooking a
no,
feast. It's just for
yes.
the two of us, but we're
We
doing
are
it.
going to
I
have
love
so
it.
much turkey. I can't wait. So
I
but
love it.
I find that very centering. And
Very
then
and
just,
therapeutic.
knowing when to turn off devices has been huge this last year. Um, I've been trying, and it's almost as if you're meditating. I've been trying to turn my phone off or put it away from my bed for the last half hour before I go to bed,
That's
and
good.
do
Yeah.
something else, whether it's read or just have that be the time I shower or whatever, my,
Right. Right. Right.
getting
Right. Right.
pre-bed ritual, do that sans phone has been huge.
Nice.
Because the
No, and
news
it's
for a
so
really long time wasn't great too. That last half hour
a
before bed,
hundred
you didn't need to
percent.
get
Yeah.
more of that in your mind before bed.
100%. And I actually struggled with that as well in the last year because as you mentioned, the news was rarely good, and 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 I struggled to find that balance between well I probably should shut this off, but then I feel like I'm uninformed. Like so
Right.
you're trying to find that balance of like still kind of knowing what's going on, but then also being I'll call it spiritually responsible for yourself. You know what I
I
mean?
think that's a great
But
word for it because it's important.
yeah.
You have to find that balance.
Yeah, and you're so right though about. I just want to bring up this one thing that you touched on, because I kind of I'll say suffer from the same thing. Is that sometimes when we do try to have that peace and silence and calm, still moment is when the voices start. You know what I mean? Like when all the voice, like you said, when you start thinking of like everything you shouldn't be thinking about because you're
Right.
trying.
And things that you never think about in your normal daily life.
Right, and
Things that
you try. I
you
feel
feel like you've moved on from them.
I can't believe I'm actually about to quote RuPaul, and I'm a fan, but I can't believe that this is where the interview has gone. But that I do remember her saying once, which I felt like related to, was on the same conversation we're in now, where she was talking about, yeah, she's like, I tend to just overbook myself because I'm such a workhorse and I enjoy my work, but I do overbook myself and I say yes to everything because then it helps me outrun the voices. It's what she said. And I was like,
I
I
mean,
get
it's so
that. Because I
true.
do.
I
I
get
work.
that.
We work all the time. We work all the time. Even when I'm not, like this last year, I was furloughed from work, as a lot of people were, and I'm grateful to say I'm going back to work next week. But
Congratulations.
thank you. There was so much downtime, but I didn't take it. I still did everything I could to stay busy because that's just that. I guess that's the
Right.
blessing and the curse it is to be us. No.
Well, but truly, because, not to get, too deep into it, but it's so much easier to work on a project than to work on yourself.
Yeah.
And
It's true.
and it's so much, and also none of us were built to take a year where we didn't have social activities and other people around and all of this stuff. We were built on that. That's how we were raised.
Yeah.
We were, our parents put us in play dates that we never would have wanted to go to otherwise. I was perfectly happy with my imaginary friend. If I had been
Like
left to my
you're like, I'm not
devices,
looking for new friends right now. Yeah.
no, I'm
Right.
good. Me and this fake friend are doing fine.
Let me
And
say-
if they would
I
have all
love
just
it.
let us have our imaginary friends, we would have been much better off this
Maybe,
last year.
maybe we would have all been so much more mentally healthy than we are now. We're also neurotic now. No, I'm kidding.
It's because of latchkey. I'm just gonna say it.
I was a latchkey kid too, girl.
Me too.
Is that a Michigan
Yes.
thing, or is that is that everywhere? I don't know.
I don't actually
Latchkey.
know, but I just remember watching a lot of Power Rangers, and that was my latchkey experience.
Oh my god, I love it. Oh, that's funny. Are you a Drag Race fan?
I am. I am a late comer to the Drag Race fandom, I would
Why are you
say.
tardy for the party?
Well, I just don't watch a lot of TV, and I think
Fair.
that's
Okay.
why.
Yeah.
Other than I have watched and do watch the Food Network since I was 10 years old, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. I love
back in
it.
the olden days of Food Network, I've been watching since then, like when it was, not to name drop people that I don't know, but like
Right.
all of these fake friends that I had on the Food
Yeah.
Network, like Michelle Ervater and Emerald, and Cooking Monday to Friday was Michelle Ervater's show, and Sarah Moulton and the Two Fat Ladies and
Yeah.
all of these like people now that
Oh, I love it.
and so I watched that, but I didn't watch a lot of RuPaul. I don't watch a lot of shows, but I watched every once in a while. I've had a few friends on the
Hmm.
show here and
On the
there.
show. Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, and so I would watch their seasons, and then I would stop again. But now I've been watching both RuPaul US and UK, which is like so fun.
So I keep hearing great things about UK, and I have it. Like, I mean, I have the app that it's streaming on. I can't think of the name of it right now, but I just haven't sat down to watch it. But yeah,
It's a
I'm one of those
totally
things.
different experience.
It is okay, so I need to check it out. But I've definitely, I've been watching this season of RuPaul, but I kind of go back and forth, like where I've missed full seasons, but then I've seen, like, so I don't know. I can't, even though obviously I know we have the ability to stream and like catch up. Maybe I'm still so old school. I'm like, I missed it. I must not have needed to see it. So
I'm with you. I'm with you
so
because you could record everything on television, right? If you wanted now.
you could, but I guess I just feel like if I didn't catch the first episode, I'm not committed. So
Right? I
like
know.
I'm not committed to that season.
Or that show. I have that with some older series too, and people are like, "You would
Yeah,
love this," and then I look
right.
and it's 6 seasons, and I think, no, that's not. I
That's
can't
a big
start that
commitment.
now.
That's a
That's a
commitment. Yeah.
lot.
Well, what have you been watching like during quarantine? Did you get into anything new? Like, did you binge anything?
So
Binge watch.
yes.
Excuse me. Yeah. I should finish
Oh,
that phrase.
well, yes, in all respects. Let's be honest.
Yes, she did, honey.
um, I definitely enjoy. So I'm a slow binger. Is that allowed to be a thing?
Yeah, that's a thing. You just take longer to. So it's not. Well, then I guess is it really a binge if you do it slowly?
I guess not.
I mean,
No,
I think a binge is like when you watch an entire season in one sitting.
right.
Like
That
you sit
sounds
there for like
so
8 hours and watch,
right.
which
I
doesn't
can't.
sound like you don't sound like the kind of person to do that. So
No, that would make me insane. I would feel very weird, I think, if I did that. I think 2 episodes is the most I can do in a row
yeah,
of a show. But I watched Schitt's Creek, of course, finished
of
that,
course,
and
yes,
was
you have
watching
to.
that a little bit before,
And
and
with your
then
tissues, right? Like you had to cry
oh
and
my
laugh throughout that
gosh,
whole series.
the
Yeah,
entire series, and they get you. They really got you, right? Like they started it, and you thought, oh, that's funny, and these people are not that likable, and then all of a sudden,
right.
the end of I think it was season 2. I think that I was watching the finale and I just started crying
They got you.
uncontrollably, and
Yeah.
they gotcha. I mean, it's such a beautiful show.
So beautiful. And I think you're exactly right. I think that with those characters and with the way that the pace that they let you into their lives, the characters' lives,
Yeah,
I think it was so well earned. I think that the love that we all ended up having for that show was so earned, because they
I
paced it out
agree.
perfectly.
Yeah, it's just so um, it's just such an open
Hmm.
world that they live in
Yeah.
too, in every way, the good, bad, and the ugly of it.
Right.
So I think that's what they unlock themselves, and all of a sudden you're right there. They like had you in their
Yeah.
pocket.
And
Um,
you felt like you were on the journey with them, even though,
yeah,
but
you're
that's
just
what's beautiful about it is that people connected, so many different people connected with it. But,
yeah.
I think
It truly was a universally loved for most people that I spoke to, and like you said, they all had many people had different paths of finding why they loved it.
right. Because
And
it was one of those shows that I think became more popular, widespread popular in its final season. Like it was almost like all of a sudden it had earned this huge audience that was playing catch up. because they were watching all the seasons to catch up. And then they were like, we're ending now. It's season 6. We're over. You know what I mean? Like, so it was like, it was interesting.
But you're so right. It was so earned. That's such a good word for it. I mean, it's just truly beautiful.
I love it. And Gurl, you know, I love Catherine O'Hara and
oh my gosh.
Eugene Levy, like just even in like their other roles, like Best in Show and Waiting for Guffman and everything, you know.
And you can tell they love working with each other much.
Yeah.
It's just so good.
That's the kind of chemistry that you can't like fake, or you can't manufacture. No. It's natural.
Exactly.
You know? Okay, so all right. You know, I will say the only show that I actually really have binged, like how I'm embarrassed to admit I did sit and watch the entire season in one sitting. It was The Crown on Netflix.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's so good.
So good. Did you see the Harry and Meghan Oprah interview?
No, I haven't watched it yet because I think it came out the day I was traveling here or the day before. Okay. And I am an elderly gentleman when I'm traveling, and so I was, you know, I took my teeth out at like, you know, 8 p.m. or something. Got to get some sleep.
To be fair, I've actually only watched the first. I've only seen half of it. I didn't watch it live, and I've just been like, I started watching it the other day, and I fell asleep because I'm an old man too. But I'm loving all of the. I know it's silly, but I'm loving all of the internet memes that have come out of that interview.
I will say also, I feel that way in general over the last year, especially because we're all on the internet so much. People are so funny. And
they're funny, yeah.
People are just funny and good at that meme culture. I mean, I never ever imagined I would be scrolling and like do one of those very embarrassing loud laughs, but it just happened.
Right. You literally laughed out loud. Yeah,
you do. People are really funny. It's amazing.
I love it. I appreciate it. And you know, so tomorrow I'm actually going on somebody else's podcast as a guest tomorrow, and it's I'm a little nervous about it because it's a comedy podcast, and I don't think I'm funny, so I have no idea what we're going to talk about. Like I know that we laugh when we're just having conversation, but I'm not doing material. Like I don't know. Like this is an actual, like the two people that run this podcast are legitimate comedians, and they're hilarious. I love their show. I'm honored that they want me to come on, but I'm really nervous.
You're gonna do great. You are funny. Being funny and being a comedian are different things.
They are different things. So, okay, let's circle back to berries here. We got off track.
Well, I felt like it was so right on there. The Crown, berries, it all makes sense.
It all works. It's all royalty.
It all works. It's all royalty. Olivia Colman, if you'd like to come take a class, just give me a call.
I love it. So, okay. I have some, you know, here's the thing. I actually have something fun to say about berries. You know, in addition to everything that we've already talked about, you know, talking about the community and just, you know, I obviously, as I mentioned, already felt that everyone who worked there was always kind and welcoming and lovely. The workouts were always challenging and efficient. But on top of it, everybody that works at Barry's Bootcamp also doubles as a supermodel. Let's just keep it real. Like, you guys have the prettiest group of people ever in the same room. So I'm down. Like, give me eye candy and motivation and a great workout. I'm there.
You're not wrong. And not to,
I'm not wrong. And you know that's part of your marketing strategy.
I mean, I think that in general for fitness, people want to either look like or sleep with the person that they're going to work out with.
Always.
It's going to be one of them. And the inspiration is
and
there.
Listen, I'm there for it. I love it. I'm not criticizing. I'm celebrating it. I love it. I love the whole thing. Sorry.
Well, and the thing is that it's amazing that Barry's is able to find good looking, good people. And that is something that I think is such a gift. And that is so different than just like popping someone up there and propping them up because they look good. You know, really, it's they and we, because it's a different department than I touch. You know, I'm just like,
no. You're part of that category too.
Oh, you're so kind. I often feel like they're like, who is this gentleman? Is he going to go ring the bell to let us in up in the church tower after that?
Stop it.
But I truly, it is a group of people that are good looking, good people.
Yeah.
And that is,
It's the full package. It's the full package. It's amazing.
and if it's not a good person, it doesn't matter how attractive they are. They will not, I don't think, they will not find success in the grand scheme within Barry's, because we really do want
Sure.
people that are here to care for each other.
Yes. Absolutely. No, I get that. And I
But
get
yes,
that.
if they look
I
great,
appreciate
that definitely helps. And listen, I have, outside of my fridge, I have never had a six pack. So I will look at someone and hope for it every day.
No, I love it. And again, I hope you don't mind me bringing that up. I really was mostly bringing it up as for a laughter line. But yes, yeah, I like the way. But I love the way that you actually really explained the process there, because it really is true. I mean, I don't think Barry's would be as successful as it is and received so well by so many people if all of what you just said wasn't true. Like, yes, of course, you could look at somebody and be like, oh, they're good looking, and there's that element. We're human beings. There is definitely an attraction element there and a desirable element there. But then when you go, and if they're vapid or unknowledgeable or whatever, which isn't the case,
or
for
unkind,
you guys, or unkind,
uncaring,
like
yeah.
It just ruins the whole fantasy. No.
Well, I totally agree. You want something that feels that you're being taken care of. You want that feeling there, and if it's by someone that happens to be gorgeous, that's okay.
Right. And that's okay.
That's okay.
Listen, I don't know if I should tell this story, but whatever. So
go for it.
And I know, well, I could always edit it out if it doesn't go over well. But the beauty of not streaming live. But on that same note, so like my best friend and I, we have, and I swear it's harmless, like, but it's just funny. We have like our own, because that we've had conversations about this, and we recognize that the instructors at Barry's are all gorgeous, and so we both have our own total fantasy, but we have our own Barry's fake husbands, like, and I'm not going to tell you who they are because you probably know them.
But... I was about to ask.
But like we both have, it's
take
funny.
A quick drink out of that chalice, dear. I just take a couple more sips. I have some questions.
I already know. We have our fake. We have our fake Barry's husbands, and we joke about it too. Where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like my fake husband, blah blah blah, and it's harmless. I swear. I'm. We're not like literally stalking anybody, but like,
of course.
we literally have we refer to them as our Barry's husbands. And these people don't know us. They don't know us, so it's not like.
But that's okay. I think that exists in every faction of like media and all of that, right? Like you have celebrities that whether you're attracted to them or not, you feel like you know them in some respect, right?
Yeah.
Or you love what they offer.
I will tell you, one of them is in LA and one of them is New York based, and they have the same first name, but that's all I'll tell you. We'll play a game. If you can guess in 3 guesses who they are, they have the same name. They're obviously men. They have the same first name, obviously different last names. One is based in LA and one is based in New York.
Oh my gosh, this is gonna make me crazy. Do they share a name with me? Well, those eyes just got so big, y'all. Well,
maybe.
I don't want to say I nailed it, but I feel like maybe.
I think you did nail it. I think you know who we're talking about.
Well, everyone, if you want to go online,
I'll tell you offline. But I think we know who we're talking about.
I think we know.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, the people, like I said, the people that if you're attracted to someone at Barry's, they're also going to be a good heart as well as a pretty face. So.
No, absolutely. Well, the one I'm thinking of, I will say I don't know him, but I have taken his class a few times and it was always great. And I had met him a couple times being in the dance scene when he was still a dancer. And we were always friendly, but to say I know him wouldn't be accurate. It's been the actual in-person experiences have been very minimal.
Right. And time might have passed at this point.
Oh, there's been a lot of time in between.
But to be fair, no one has seen each other for the last year. So subtract that year, and then how long?
Right.
And then tell me which contracts it was on and where you met. And I'm not going to look. I'm not trying to research anything.
I'm pretty sure you know who I'm talking about at this point.
I'm pretty sure I do. Everyone, stay tuned for Untucked. Please don't sue us, RuPaul.
Right. Right. I'm going to take this section of the interview and put it on like a platform where people have to pay to hear this.
Yes. My God.
This is the exclusive content. No, but he's a lovely person. Again, I don't know him. I really don't know him all that well, but he's always been very, very kind, and I always enjoyed his class. So that and he's gorgeous. So there's that fantasy there. You know what I mean?
I mean, I love that, and I will sing at your fake wedding. I will come out of retirement.
Oh God, I love you. Cheers. I think we need a drink after that one. Because now I feel like a schoolgirl blushing because I'm like we're talking about my internet crush who you actually know as a person, and I'm like, wait, can you really connect us? No, I'm kidding. No.
Yes. Maybe that's going to be if I move on from this new studio opening role, I'll just become like some sort of fitness lifestyle matchmaker. Do those still exist?
Yeah. I mean, I think you could start that up again if it does.
Yes. Yeah, we'll think about it.
Right. I love it. Okay, so I have a fun question. So you've obviously traveled all over and opened up new studios and whatnot. Do you have a favorite Barry's studio?
Oh, that's a hard one. I do still have very much my heart in New York City. So I love that vibe. I will say one of the coolest ones I've gotten to visit, and this I visited not while I was working, but I visited on a trip. I had gone and I proposed to my now fiance, and he didn't know that I was.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. It's been quite a year to be with someone the last year. I feel like if you got through that, right?
Of course,
yes. Yeah. So he had no idea that I was proposing, but we had planned a trip together. That was a fairly large trip because we hadn't really taken a vacation. We've been together 8 years now, and we hadn't really taken a vacation. So we had put all of our pennies in a jar, and we planned a trip, and I proposed, and then we got in a cab and then went to Paris. And it was so wonderful.
I love it. Oh, good for you.
It was truly amazing. And we went to Barry's Paris because, of course, I was not planning to go. I thought, I'm leaving work behind for a minute.
Right.
And we were out for a walk on this trip in Paris. And one of the cool things, of course, pre-COVID, that we always did was any new group of trainers for a new city comes to New York and also goes to Los Angeles to be in active
to do kind of like an onboarding. Yeah.
To see how it all works. So I'm walking, and I had met all the trainers for the Paris group, and we're walking, I don't even know where in Paris, on some street, and I hear someone yell Mathew from the traffic, and one of the trainers spotted me while they were on their little motorbike. So of course we went to visit, and that was such a cool opportunity because it's so the connection of it all felt really special, like being across the world and being somewhere that I don't know anyone in my head. I'm going somewhere where we don't know anyone. We planned this vacation, and being able to connect back to this Barry's family and this Barry's community makes that memory is so special. As far as studios go, I think outside of New York, because that whole market is so dear to me. We opened in, I get it. We opened in Chicago, and that was the first studio I helped open, at all, in 2017, end of 2016. We opened our first studio in Chicago in River North area, and so that experience, and the studio both ended up to be so amazing and special. And Also, being from the Midwest, I feel like that's part of it too. You
Oh,
know,
honey, yeah. Well, I went to college in Chicago, so I mean, I'm
it's
down.
a
I
great
love I
city.
love that city.
Yeah, it's
So,
such a fun
okay,
city.
one more hard question for you.
Okay.
um, can you tell me who are your top 5 like favorite instructors? Who would you
Oh,
say, like, if somebody's
wow.
never been to Barry's and they're like, I'm gonna try Barry's, and you would say, okay, you have to. I'm giving you 5 options to make it a little less like hard, because I'm sure you're friendly with everybody, but you got to give me your top 5 instructors at Barry's
This
Bootcamp,
this is
worldwide.
hard. World. Oh my gosh. This is how Meryl Streep felt, right?
Right?
That's a Sophie's Choice reference for anyone playing the home game.
No, I got the reference. I swear, I understood it.
I know you did. We're on the same page.
I
We
love you.
share. This is the scariest wavelength to share for people, but we are on
Right.
it together. If anyone else is tuning into this wavelength, we would like to apologize to you.
This is really just for us. Like, I'm not even gonna release this episode. It's really just us talking.
So I
But after
truly,
I just admitted to having a crush on one of your colleagues, I better cut that part out.
Oh no, it's fine, everyone. I mean, I feel like if any of the people that I work with would be surprised that someone had a crush on them, they'd be lying, right? Like that'd
Right,
be
right, 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 right.
false surprise, is what that would be. Um, I have a hard time. I do have a hard time with that because I truly do love so many of our instructors, and they are all trained in such a way that they bring
Something
the
unique
workout
to
is
each.
is
Yeah.
amazing, right? The workout's going to be amazing for people that haven't taken berries. Like the workout is so easy to recommend pretty much anyone because people know, like they know how to do it. But I do have to, number one, and they are a dear friend of mine, but my friend Amber Reese is her last name, if anyone's
Okay.
following this. She is the reason I work at Barry's. She taught the
Okay.
first class that I ever took at Barry's. She helped me get my front desk job at Barry's. So right there, and her class is so fun. It's just like it's one of those kinds of fitness classes where the hour kind of goes by and you are you leave the class and you realize how hard it was.
Right. Right. I
Kind of a
like that.
thing.
I like that. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
Oh, it's so fun. And so I have to give that special shout out right there.
Okay.
And
Number
then
2.
number two, oh wow, this is so exciting. Um, let's see. I love, this is really hard. This is a lot of pressure. I hope everyone
Take a drink.
realizes this.
Take a drink and
Oh, I'm
and,
gonna
and
take a drink.
take a drink and take a breath. I'm gonna take a drink too.
I'm gonna take a drink of my Casamigos Mezcal by George Clooney. TM.
Yes, honey.
Um, I really love, so Barry's launched a ride. It was called Barry's Ride. It's still running in Los Angeles where we can have outdoor studios, but it's half cycling and half strength training, which is
Mhm.
super exciting because sometimes, as those of us that have danced in the past, our knees
Right.
can't quite handle running every single day.
Oh, totally.
And it's a great way to get a little cardio and still get the strength training, but you're not doing quite so much. And Andrew Nunez is an instructor
Andrew
in
Nunez.
LA
Okay.
that he teaches in LA, and his ride class was so good and so challenging. And again, it just was like so fun. Um, I loved his class. It was such a
Love
cool
that. Love
surprise.
it. All right,
Yes,
number
number
3.
two. That was number two. Number three.
Yep.
Um, Josie Greenwell, who's here
Okay.
actually in Austin. He is someone who his energy is pretty much always at a 10, even in life.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but he matches that to his playlist, which is such a blast. Like he clearly, and I don't, of course, do the playlists at all with any of the instructors because if I did, it would just be Carole King and the Carpenters. But
Get it.
they,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, which I would love to do a workout to, but I think it might just be for me. But Josie
Right.
Greenwell, his playlist and his workout, he like ties them together
Mhm.
basically. So you ride the energy of the class with the
Oh, I
music
love
of the
that's my
class.
favorite type of
It
class. Like
is,
class when the music is complimenting everything we're doing. Well, but I was a dancer, so that makes sense. You know?
Right, exactly. But it's like, and not to get like weird and make it sound like kind of sexual, but like because you hit those climaxes of the work with the climaxes of the music, and like the climax should feel like something, right? No one wants a climax that doesn't feel like anything. So it's so amazing. This has gone off the rails.
He's like, when you have multiple orgasms in this class. Look, everybody, everybody's going to this class now. You know what I mean?
Well, he's moved here. He's going to be a founding Austin instructor.
Okay.
So that's so exciting for the Austin community. Go ahead, climax in his class. And
oh, can we put that on a T-shirt? Can we put that? You've got berries on the front, and on the back it says "climax in this class."
Oh my God, I had a really great 6 years with this company, and this is a great way to go out, I guess.
Oh my God, I love it. Okay, so number 4. I just got to keep us on track here. Number 4.
Yes, keep us on track. Number 4. This is Chicago. I'm trying to hit different regions too, because there are people all over the place. I have been so lucky to take class in so many different regions. So number 4, I love, there's an instructor in Washington, D.C., Quentin.
Okay.
He is, his class, he's one of those instructors, the instructors that you feel like you're being taken care of the whole time, and their class is so hard, but you feel like they just have your back.
Yes.
And that's how you feel in his class.
Which is,
and it is
rare to find.
It is rare to find. Yeah. And so many instructors create a great class, right?
To this. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Like there are so many great classes, but the whole time I was in his class, it was hard, but I felt like he was there with me taking it. He was on that ride with me. So I loved that.
Yeah.
And his class is super special.
And he's a Chicago instructor.
He's in DC, Washington, DC.
Oh, DC. Sorry. Mm-hmm. All right, number 5.
Number 5. This is the last one I get.
Yeah, it's the last one you get, girl. So make it good. This is the
last one.
Make it good, girl. Why don't you give it to one of your New York peeps? Give it to one of your New York peeps.
I want to say Gurl now, but now I get nervous when I say Gurl back to you that it's too sultry for the airwaves. I'm like ready to reply to you, and I'm like, "Hey, girl."
No, honey, you call me girl. Call me girl. I know,
but it's like Bill and B. Arthur are having this. That's how I feel like my voice sounds like when I say it, like girl. That's how it comes out of my mouth.
Well, because girl. Well, we always joke about I know we're getting off track here because you're stalling on your 5th, but yeah,
I absolutely am.
No, but yeah, girl is like I know I feel like every gay man has had this conversation in one way or another that depending on the tone of your voice when you say girl, you can tell what kind of mood everyone's in, because it could be excited like, oh hey girl, or it could be like you could be annoyed to be like girl.
Right, and then that's where I tie into B. Arthur. I think that's where we make that perfect match, like Gurl, like
that,
Ma.
That hybrid.
It's
yeah.
Exactly.
Kind of Maud, but also a little bit of Dorothy. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. And I've always been a friend of Dorothy, as they say.
Well, honey, we all are, girl. Yes, I love you. I'm really enjoying this conversation. Cheers.
Same. Cheers. This is such a blast. Okay, number 5. I'm going to go back to New York.
We're running out of time.
I'm going back to New York. And I'm going to say number 5 is Matt Nolan.
Okay.
He too. It's similar actually to Quentin. They are both like these tall, gorgeous, kind of daddy men that maybe that's what I feel taken care of by. Let's just be honest.
Okay.
So their class is amazing. I love that this got to end up being a therapy session for me.
I love that finally. We finally got to the bottom of what I love. You said you're like, I like these classes because I feel like daddy's taking care
playlist.
of me.
It's like so amazing that I was like fun playlist and then like daddy taking care of me at the. Okay, wow, we really unearthed something there.
But I really do get it. Like that actually really does. And I think for most people listening to that, actually, analogy makes sense. So we're into it. Yeah. Like you got the right audience here. You found the right
Oh my
audience,
gosh.
girl.
Well,
We're
thank
with you. We're
goodness.
with you.
Also, I don't have to call my therapist this week, which is so nice.
I love it. You didn't name either. You didn't name my fake husband though, but that's okay.
No, well, I knew their names, and so I thought if I said their
I'm
names too,
joking. It's okay.
there would be a reaction. I felt like a bell, like Pee Wee Herman style, would start ringing or something if I said the secret word.
No. I'm just teasing you. I love it. Okay, so I want to know this. We're going to wrap it up here, but I want it, which I'm sad about because I'm having so much fun. But we could record for hours. I'm sure
we could talk for days. I think.
I think we could, which I'm here for it. So let's do it. I want to know, just in general, really quick. This is actually kind of, I know we've been silly, but this is actually kind of a serious question. As we wrap up, what would you say, being such a important and predominant figure in the Barry's family, what would you say to a person or a consumer? I'll say, not to give fancy verbiage, but like that was maybe a little intimidated by Barry's, or maybe whether it be because of they thought maybe the workout would be too hard, or maybe they thought that they weren't ready for it. Because I have to admit, there were even times for me in my life where I mean, luckily, I'm smart enough to overcome the inner demons, but but like there were definitely times where I'm like, oh, I don't know if I don't think I'm in shape enough to go to a Barry's class, But so, what do you say to somebody that is feeling anxiety or some form of intimidation? What would you do to put their mind at ease, to say you're welcome here and you can come no matter what?
I think this is such an amazing question, and it was actually something that it didn't, we haven't talked about the family trips that I was mentioning of like two Barrys, which really unlock things. But I'll start with a bit of a personal story. So my dad came to take Barrys in 2016 when I had just started more newly with the company, and he about 6 months prior to that had a triple bypass and wanted to take the. Oh, he's so good.
He's
and
fine now. He's good now. Oh, good.
He's totally fine. He is, he's just, but I was in New York and I was, working this new job, and I wasn't able to go home to be with him during this process because also, what would I have done? I am not a doctor. Sorry to my grandparents. I didn't go down that Jewish path, but I did have this moment when he was coming and he wanted to take Barrys, and I was so nervous. Right. As a kid, as the child of the parent, you start getting nervous. And he got in that class and he did what he could, and he stopped when he needed to, and he took breaks whenever he wanted. And he ended up he was with me for a full long weekend. He took every single day. And that moment was such a realization for me because because I was so nervous, but then I also realized this is a place where you do what you can do in the parameters of the class that we are having, right? And no one is going to yell at you, and no one is going to make you feel less than. And I think it's so amazing because one of our kind of mission, of our vision as a company, we have one phrase, well, two kind of, that it's about finding your strength and being your best. And I think that's so important, especially in a time where people have felt so many emotions. No one here is telling you that you have to be the best. They're saying you have to be your best.
I appreciate you saying that so much, because I think that's important in almost every aspect of your life, to have that kind of mentality, but also support from the people around you. And I think that there's so many times that especially in the, I'll call it the fitness industry, that's not something that the industry is known for.
Right.
Is always being supportive and meeting people where they're at. I think there's that old programming or that old strategy of those, I'll call it old school like coaches and trainers where they use kind of fear-based strategies, or they yell
Right.
at you to get you to do it right. You know what I mean? Or they try to yell
Yeah.
at you to motivate you. But that never motivated me. Actually just made me feel lower. It made me feel less than. So I love that you kind of touched on that. You're like, that nobody there is judging you. Nobody there is saying you're less than. And they meet you where you are. So with that, do the instructors, is there an opportunity, like, for example, for someone in that case that maybe can't physically do some of the things in that structured workout? Are there altered workouts that are available? Like, while they're there, will the instructor come over and say, why don't you do it this way? Or you kind of modify it
Yeah.
for them?
Totally. And we even have brought that to our online platform as well, where we invite people to let us know anything at the top of class
Any
that they're working
injuries
through,
or any
any
concerns?
injuries,
Yeah.
anything that they're working with. And, it's amazing that people feel safe enough to share that with us.
Yeah.
I think that also speaks to what we're able to offer to our clients, that they do feel safe to let us know that they have this injury or this longstanding thing or this just fear, like you said, or intimidation. And it is done in a way that whatever you bring that day, because let's be honest, like you work out, I work out. There are days that I can work out and bring it, and there are days that I can work out and I left it at home, right? Like there are those. Um,
Truer words were never spoken. Yes, it's true. I
and
get it.
and
I'm the
it's
same way.
all
Yeah.
okay. It's all okay. And I think that we all kind of, at Barry's, we subscribe to that feeling of like, you are always going to be lapping that person that's just sitting on the couch. So we welcome that you're here. And
Hmm.
whatever you bring today is what you bring today. And if yesterday you did a little better or a little worse, that's fine. That was yesterday. And if tomorrow you
Yeah.
do a little better or worse, that's tomorrow. But today, this is what you're bringing, and we're here to celebrate that.
I appreciate that so much. So as we wrap it up, I wanted to just kind of give you an opportunity to give any sort of final thoughts or words of encouragement to anyone out there that is maybe struggling with that decision to make that lifestyle change, and what you would say to them, and what Barry's could offer them.
Yeah, I mean, that's such a powerful opportunity. So I want to thank you for that. Um, and I think we all bring our personal stuff to whatever situation that we're joining into, right? Whether that's a social situation or something as important as wellness. And I use that word because I
Sure.
think that
Yeah.
it is bigger than fitness. It is bigger than
It's bigger than fitness. It's bigger than vanity. It
it
really
is.
is. Yes. I didn't
No,
mean to cut
no,
you off. I just
no.
got
It's
excited. I got excited because I
yeah,
agreed
oh,
with
for
you.
sure. It is. It's so much larger than just fitness, And that's what when I mentioned the whole thing about I love that phrase, find your strength. It's not saying find your heaviest weight. It's not saying find your
Right.
fastest run that you've ever done. It's saying find your strength. And what does that mean for you? And that's such a beautiful option to enter it in the sense of however you want. Um, I would say a lot of people that I've spoken with, I love, as you can tell, because I'm not short-winded, I love talking to people and getting to know people. And a lot of people have been struggling over the last year, especially with, um, having fallen off of something or having kind of,
With
right,
wellness.
and
Yeah.
have,
Yeah.
or having leaned into bad habits, as people have said. And I had this moment recently. I was chatting with a friend, and it just kind of came to me. It wasn't premeditated in any way, but it was basically, you know, just because you might not right now be doing something that you consider a good habit, it doesn't mean that you have created a bad habit. Just live in the fact that it's a current habit and see what you can do next. And
Oh wow, I
I,
like that. Wow.
I
Yeah.
it, like just truly that it came out of a conversation. It wasn't something I had ever thought of before, but it even helped me out because I've been there this past year. And so I think just like have that willingness to try something a little challenging or different and know that, especially at a place like Barry's, we aren't going to judge if you feel like you didn't do your best. We're going to be so excited to welcome you at whatever level you feel good being there.
Perfect. Oh, I love that. Well, listen, Matt, I thoroughly enjoyed this, and I really, really am grateful for your time. And I love Girl, I mean, I think I've said it a million times. You know I'm a Barry's fan, so you.
I got it. I have Vegas. I wrote it down.
You
I wrote it on the window here at this hotel.
Right. Maybe one day when I get big enough in my life too, where I can just jump on a plane to come to one of the cities where Barry's is at. I don't know. No.
I mean, Austin is just a quick jaunt, I think.
I think LA's closer
that's
though.
fair. I just wanted you to come visit me. I'm just being selfish.
Absolutely. No, but well, and if you open a studio in Vegas, you'll be here for a extended period of time, so then we can hang out. Listen, Matt, I thoroughly enjoyed this, and I'm very grateful for your time. I'm obviously a Barry's fan, as you know, and I just really appreciate your insights and your perspective, and I've really enjoyed the conversation. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. I usually have people not wanting me to talk, so this is so exciting. It's truly been so lovely, and you are just, your energy and warmth emanate across phone lines even.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate that. Look, I'm fucking I gotta look. No. No, I love it. So listen, Mathew Schwartz, check him out. You can find him on Instagram, but also check out his top 5 coaches. If you're interested in some Barry's Bootcamp classes, you can do Barry's at home. If you're in a city, I'll of course I'll hyperlink all of the links to Barry's and everything like that in the description of the episode, so you can see if there's a local gym that you can go to. But I highly recommend the Barry's family and community if you're looking for a great workout and a great community. So, Hey Girl loves you.
My gosh. Well, I love Hey Girl, as sultry as we want to be.
We're as sultry as we want to be, girl. I love it. Well, listen, have a good weekend, girls. If you like what you heard, go ahead and show us some love and hit that subscribe button. You can check us also out at our website at heygirlpodcast.com, girl spelled with a U, where we also have our Girl merchandise, and we also have our seasonal cocktail program on there with some really great cocktail tutorials, so you can have an elevated cocktail experience at home. So when you're done doing Barry's Bootcamp at home, you can have a cocktail from Hey
It is
Girl.
a perfect day.
We're cross promoting now. Like we're in business together now. Anyway, have a good weekend, Matt. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been such a pleasure. Have a good one.